How's it going? Welcome back to a very special video. I am so excited to be talking about Fallout London. Yes, I'm going to give you my Fallout London review. I've been playing this non-stop because luckily I have the ability of time travel. I live in Japan, which means I've been playing it while everyone's been sleeping, pretty much. And also I haven't slept. But that doesn't matter because Fallout London is here, and I'm going to give you this Fallout London review and break down basically everything that you need to know about this game, but without going into spoiler territory. So if that sounds good to you, then let's get cracking. I am indeed a British man. Trust me, my credentials need no evaluation. I love Earl Grey tea, and I'm a massive Harry Potter nerd. That's all you need to know. Before this video begins, I just have to say how lucky we are as Fallout fans. This year has been incredible for Fallout. I actually dedicated a whole month just to Fallout content, looking back at the older games and giving them an up-to-date review. So if you like Fallout and you like deep analysis of Fallout and its universe, I am a massive Fallout nerd. I love it so much. I've even done a full philosophical breakdown on all the Fallout factions that no one watched because only a crazy man would make something like that. But I just love this series so much and it means a lot to me. And the Fallout show was amazing, and Bethesda might be kind of failing the franchise a little bit, but luckily we have the community to pull it back up to where it should be with Fallout London. And I have to say that this is just amazing. For everyone who worked on this, well done. Thank you so much for, just trying to bring the Fallout community something new and something original, something creative. I will say that Fallout 4 without, tons and tons of mods does feel a little bit dated now, but if you can look past that, if you can look past some of the bugs, I think this is a really great game. But is it a good Fallout game? That's what I want to examine today. And honestly, I will just say it is missing the identity of Fallout a little bit. But it does do some amazing things, and it does get a lot of that identity right. And the fact that you can play a new Fallout experience and it's set in a completely different location and it's actually polished and it feels like a proper Fallout game, that's insane. And even more crazy is this is, for free. Which is just mind-blowing. Obviously they've had a lot of support, much deserved, and all of that kind of stuff, so you just have to appreciate these people. Gaming, I really do feel like modding is going to be the future for games, because as games take longer to make, we need the community and actual tools to create our own games, and lots of AA games are being created now with creation and innovation in mind because of that. So it does give me hope for the future of the gaming industry as well. Now the first thing Fallout London nails is the culture and the details. Okay, that's what I want to talk about first, because holy shit.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Do you regret your comments? Do you regret your comments?
Don't worry, go on, have a cup of tea.
Thank you very much.
There you go. There you go.
Do you regret your comments, sir?
I want you to have a cup of tea.
Time for some tea! I've been living outside of the UK now for almost 2 years, but obviously, I grew up there my whole life. I've only been here for 2 years now in Japan, and I will be going back at some point, but it just gets all of the details perfect, okay? I mean, there's even goddamn Boots, which is like a pharmacy in Fallout London. There's so many references to UK life, UK food, tea. Yes, tea. Yes, we love tea, okay? I literally have to drink 3 cups of tea a day to keep my sanity in check, otherwise I will go off the deep end. I do wish it leaned more into that wacky side of UK culture, something akin to A Clockwork Orange, and more into the Fallout sci-fi side of things, because that's where I feel it's lacking a lot, and I'll talk about that more later. I'm going to give you a fair review as if this was a real game. I'm going to break it down into positives and negatives. I've done all of my detailed notes here in order, and yes, it is a free mod, so you should have your expectations in check, but they put so much love into it, and just like with the Oblivion remake when that comes out, these are basically trying to be proper games. And to pay respect to the developers, I want to give them honest feedback. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of this Fallout London review, okay, this Fallout London mod review, I'm so excited to be talking about this. I've been having an absolute blast. And you can play it on GOG, that's probably the easiest way, but you can also do it through Steam, but you just gotta know how to do it, and it's very complicated. So the only quick thing I want to say before we start this Fallout London review is, by the love of God, please consider subscribing, okay? It only takes you 2 seconds of your time, but it would mean so much to me. You have no idea how much passion I put into my channel, how much I care about my community. OG YouTube, not the ultra commercialized MrBeast version. I do deep video analysis on video games, up-to-date reviews, yearly reviews, looking back at older games and bringing them into the modern year and analyzing them, giving them a kind of philosophical breakdown and philosophical videos. If that all sounds good to you, do subscribe, become a Wise One, join the Wise One community, and we're happy to have you. So, Fallout London review, let's go, baby. So you have to understand that this is a complete overhaul mod, okay? And this basically means that it's a lot of different mods packaged into one single file, as it were. You know, think of those big mod packs that you can download to overhaul a game. That's kind of a new thing with modding, and it's essentially that, okay? So the visuals are basically on par with Fallout 4, the original game, and in places it's actually much lower because this game is huge. This game is goddamn gigantic, okay? It's the size of the base Fallout 4 map and Far Harbor, which is absolutely insane, and that means you will be suffering from long load times. So if you're not a fan of Starfield, you might get a little bit annoyed with this, but luckily it's a giant open world, it's very densely packed, there's so much to see, but it doesn't really feel like an issue unless if you're constantly zapping in and out of every single building that you see. You know, just take your time with the world and it's not really an issue, but it is very big, so do bear that in mind. And the visual quality, in some places actually it's worse than Fallout 4. Some of the textures, maybe it's a bug, I don't know, they just don't load in correctly, or they're just very low res. But that could be just because of the size. But this is a complete overhaul mod, so you know, you get new animations for guns, for example, you get new weapons in the game, new textures, new assets, new traits and abilities. They've completely overhauled everything, a new Pip-Boy, so much here that's absolutely insane. The way they overhauled damage as well is quite interesting. And what I absolutely love about Fallout London so far is it is leaning into the old school Fallout RPG a little bit more compared to something like Fallout 4 or even Fallout 3 to a degree. I would say it's kind of on par with Fallout 3 in that regard, but I'm a massive Fallout New Vegas fan. That's just, I absolutely love it. One of the best games ever created of all time, and luckily there is some of that old RPG DNA from the original Fallout 1 and 2 in this. For example, if you find a door, you can actually break it down by using a strength skill check, which is pretty cool. Not always, but it does have that option. Intelligence in conversations actually matter, and the dialogue actually, you know, feels much more old Fallout, which is very good. As this is not sponsored, I do just quickly want to say I have recently transitioned into full-time. For a channel my size, that's kind of insane. I'm not gonna go on about it, but pretty much I can only do this with your support. So if you find yourself enjoying the video, I put a lot of work into them. I spend ages doing the research and getting all the details right and being as thorough as possible, playing the games and thinking about it analytically and all that kind of stuff. So if you enjoy my content, please do consider subscribing and, like I said, supporting the channel by dropping a donation on PayPal or as a YouTube thanks, whatever it is, because as a channel my size doing this full time, that's the only way I can do this. And maybe if you want, check out my music on Spotify. I make some pretty great music.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
The culture and landmarks, okay, they just nailed it so well. The British pubs feel lived in. It's very cluttered, this Fallout London mod, okay? You know, so much detail here with, like I said, the fish and chips, the tea bags, the mushy peas, baked beans, all of that stuff, you know, the brands that we know and love as UK goddamn simpletons. You can always identify a British man because when he walks into a room, it will glow. It will glow white because we are so pale that we just illuminate the darkness around us because there is no sunshine in the UK. And it just gets all of the UK details right, which I absolutely love. London is so cluttered and detailed. There's so many unique places to discover. I'll talk about that more later without going into spoilers, but the exploration in this is just fantastic. Some things that I don't like is they are bringing in kind of the real world into the Fallout universe. For example, there's obvious knockoffs, from Amazon. Obviously, they can't use the actual copyright, but, it's very clear. And that does take me out of the Fallout experience because it does feel like this is a post-apocalyptic version of our world, not the Fallout universe, and that's just because I'm a massive Fallout nerd. If you don't really care about Fallout lore, you're not going to care, and obviously this is a mod, not officially made by the Bethesda team, but that might take you out of it, and it does have a bit of an identity crisis, which I'll talk about more later, but just the detail in this game is amazing. The animations, like I said, are just so cool. It makes it feel much more modern. For voice acting, let's talk about the voice acting. The voice acting is a mixed bag, okay? So they've actually got some real quality voice actors for Fallout London, some actors from shows like Doctor Who, which is a British sci-fi show about a time traveler. Very cool stuff, guys, very cool. Now it's been like 500 Doctor Who's at this point, and they've swapped genders, I don't know, anything's possible now. I played a lot of Fallout New Vegas quest mods, and sometimes the voice acting just pulls you out, because, you have to understand that a studio making a game, they care about quality control, they have to, the microphone has to sound the same, you can't have, a little bit of background noise, everything has to be perfect. It's not like the days of Oblivion, where you literally get someone's, you know that meme, right?
I heard that thieves broke into the Arcane University, the Imperial Legion compound, and the temple all on the same night. Wait a minute, let me do that one again.
But modding is not like that, and yes, I do have some quality voice actors in this, but some just sound pretty bad, honestly, and, you've gotta expect that. You can't really complain about it because a lot of them are so good. But there is a few hit or miss ones. The professional ones, of course, are great. Some of the side characters, some of the women voices I found a little bit unbelievable at times. And that's something I want to talk about, is the UK culture, okay, or the UK accent. Obviously, Fallout is a massive parody of American ideals as well, and this, imagination of the future in old school America, this retro futurism come to life. But I did find some of their accents over the top, okay? Like, everyone is trying to sound as British as possible. Maybe it's because I've lost my British identity and I don't really have a UK voice anymore to a degree because I watch too much American stuff, I guess. But honestly, the British voice acting is just over the top. No one actually talks like that, using like, oh, blimey, mate. It's a little bit overboard. Which I'll say, oh blimey. But they did get a nice range of character voices because the UK is thick with accents, and that I did like a lot. One small negative I will have to say though is your character is grunting a lot. I don't know if he's constipated or something, but that did get annoying, especially using a melee weapon. Just the grunts and stuff are a little bit overkill if you ask me. So that is the first positive. Like I said, it is the details. It is the innovation here, the new assets, the new technology, the new overhaul mods that make gunplay feel a little bit different, that make the AI actually a little bit smarter, that make, thinking about your traits and upgrades, better because you're actually thinking about it in a more RPG sense, not just, how to just be the best you can with shooting a gun. Also, it has overhauled melee combat because, of course, in the UK we don't have many guns because the government likes to keep us down bad. It is focused a lot on melee combat. There's a whole faction in the game called Camelot, which are old medieval knights, basically, or they're trying to kind of uphold that tradition. That's the faction I've joined because I just love medieval shit, and they're just quite funny, and it's a good time. But yeah, there's a lot of melee-focused combat in this, so if you're not a big fan of melee-focused gameplay in Fallout, in Bethesda games, then that might get annoying. But there is, of course, proper ranged weapons as well, but just it's a little bit more difficult to find ammo for them, which I like. It makes it more realistic, but you can completely do that. You don't have to focus on melee, but it does feel like that is more traditional. Now let's talk about a few negatives, okay? And that is just basically on the bug side for now. I have seen a few bugs, like I said, some texture pop in, some random crashes, of course that's to be expected. Also sometimes NPCs just disappear when you're trying to do a quest. And sometimes also the camera bugs out mid-conversation. I don't know if that's always been the case in Fallout 4 because I never used the dynamic camera, but I have used it and I do notice it does kind of bug out in this. So now let's talk about the big positive of this Fallout London review, because thank God it's not trying to focus on clearing out settlements, okay? This is about good old exploration, good world design, a level design. The level design here, it feels like it's made by a professional studio, so I have to say well done for that. The exploration is great, but also the amount of storytelling. It makes you feel like, okay, this could be done by Bethesda, because when you enter, you know, a random building, there's usually some kind of world building, some kind of storytelling involved in just the places you explore, which I really like. That's what make, you know, Fallout and Bethesda Fallout so special. There's just so many cool little details in Fallout London when you're exploring around, and I have to say the intro level, the intro opening, is just so well done. Having a moving vehicle in Fallout, in the Fallout creation engine, is already a big achievement, but I just like how everything's set up. I love how the terminals look, I love all of the details, making it feel very UK Fallout. And I just love that any building that you go into, you just don't know what to expect. You know, they're not trying to copy and paste lots of assets like a big AAA game. Obviously, they do that to a degree, but lots of the locations have something unique about them, some kind of secret to discover or collectible. The intro level for Fallout London is just incredible. I love all of the attention to detail, you know, the new terminals and all that kind of stuff. The computers are very different in the UK. All of this kind of stuff just was really refreshing to see. New enemy types. So I'll quickly talk about some of the factions. We have the Vagabonds, we have the Isle of Dogs, we have Camelot, we have the Fifth Column, we have these new creepy mutant types. So many different factions in this game. It really does bring that Fallout identity back. That's what they did really well with, is the exploration here, the attention to detail, and the factions, and bringing back all the Fallout elements. That all sounds perfect, like this is a brand new Fallout game, and in many ways it is, but the thing that just holds it back, that makes it feel a little bit just of a good new game created in the Fallout engine, which I love, but less so of an actual Fallout experience, because the identity of Fallout, I feel like they got so carried away with creating new stuff, which is great, but they kind of forgot about the identity of Fallout. Don't get me wrong, the factions are very important in Fallout and they are integral to building that DNA, but at the same time, the retrofuturism, you know, what this future would look like in a world that was completely nuked and desolated, you know, in a different timeline, you know, where transistors weren't invented, you know, so many cool attention to detail in the actual Fallout lore that makes it unique, why everything is bulky, everything is crazy, you know, this whole new timeline. This feels more like it's a real world parallel to a post-apocalyptic future now. So it does lose that identity a little bit. It doesn't have super strong dark themes in it that I've found so far. Maybe there's some quest lines that I haven't done. Of course, there's plenty of them, but I haven't. But also, sometimes that really dark, zany Fallout humor is missing, which is of course expected, and the same thing with the sci-fi elements. And I do think this is slightly more difficult compared to vanilla Fallout 4, which is a big plus. You do have to be more tactical, you do have to think more about your ammo, what weapons you're using, enemies aren't pushovers, and I do like the new damage system and, you know, how you can't just like heal yourself super easily. All of that stuff, I think, makes it feel much more balanced, much more survival. Some very cool enemy types as well, like the beef eaters, dangerous cannibals, new mutant types that I won't spoil, and then we get things like hooligans, which are basically bandits, but all with its own unique British flavor. And if you want a British Fallout, then this is it, okay? This is perfect, and I think they did an amazing job. But if you're really hoping that this is going to be like feeling like a proper Fallout game, it is lacking a little bit. I think for quest lines as well, so far they've been pretty well balanced and quite interesting. Like I said, sometimes the voice acting does pull me out of it, but if I'm in a really good faction with some really cool characters and the voice acting is hitting, and often it does, only sometimes it doesn't, this is much better compared to something like that weird Fallout one that got a lot of hate. This does feel professional, this does feel very well done, and I have to say that the atmosphere and ambience of London is great. I'm not a big fan of the ambient music, it doesn't feel very Fallout. The combat music is amazing, and that does truly feel like Fallout, so it's a little bit hit or miss. They should have hit me up, as I do make soundtracks for games. I'm working on a game at the moment. I could have done it a lot better, honestly. Not trying to puff up my own ego, but honestly, it does feel like the music was a little bit lacking that Fallout identity, the darker nature, and the tone of it. But they just did so many good things right. Crafting, you can craft so many unique items. You can brew tea, which is very British. The London ticket system is also a really cool idea. Just so many things that just work. I just wish I had more of that Fallout identity icing on top of it. But this is still a massive accomplishment, probably the best standalone mod that we've ever seen, even better than Endriel, I would say, and this is just so good. I'm just so glad that we've got an added addition on the Fallout universe, even though it's not exactly lore accurate. I do think this is very good, and some of the overhaul mods just are so well done. You know, simple things like the flashlight, for example, it's just so much better compared to vanilla Fallout. And just the detail does feel almost like a more modern game because they've added so much here with the size and the clutter and everything. But this is a very big game, so do bear that in mind. I haven't really done many side quests because I've mostly been doing the main faction quests, but so far they are very well paced. Some of them are very fetch quests, of course, but some of them are really unique with big story moments, and you know, choices actually matter in this game from what I've seen to a degree. Not obviously as crazy as Fallout New Vegas, but it is well done. And honestly, Fallout London is just crazy that it even exists, because Bethesda were trying so hard to destroy this with the next gen update. They just are so crazy. They just like to shoot themselves in the foot. And as much as Bethesda does get a lot of backlash, you know, well deserved, because there's so many cool, unique, innovative gameplay ideas in this that Bethesda never even thought about including, and some great mods already included in this. But at the same time, we do have to appreciate that the people behind Obsidian and Bethesda, you know, they understand what makes Fallout ticks, and this is a perfect example of the community giving it their best efforts and it just being incredible. Honestly, this is a great experience, but don't go in expecting that this is going to be like a proper Fallout next big game. I wish they were able to use Vault Tech. Obviously, it's in a different part of the world and stuff, but honestly, that just feels like it's missing. That's a big identity for Fallout. But anyway, this is a great mod, and it is a proper full-length game, which is insane. But you can get this for free, and it does so many good things, and so many things added onto the Fallout formula, so many innovative gameplay ideas going back to base RPG roots, like I said, which I really like. Exploration is so well designed, level design is just crazy here. So a lot of things to like. The story so far doesn't have me super hooked, but it is interesting, and I think you will enjoy this if you are a Fallout fan. I also just wanted to add that I'm not saying that the story is bad or anything like that, but the reason I love Fallout and Fallout series so much is the factions and the ideologies, the deep writing in them, the lore in them, especially in Fallout New Vegas. You know, thinking about the philosophies of these different factions draw parallels to the actual world that we come from, and you know, how our societies are governed. And obviously you can't expect a modding team to have, you know, high quality writers, but it does feel like some of the factions aren't really that narratively deep. Some of them are, and that was really my point about the story and the writing. Okay, it's not bad, but just don't expect that level of quality, and it shouldn't really be that, as this is a fan project. But I'm just saying, for people like me who love Fallout and the Fallout series because of those reasons, because of the ideologies and, you know, what it says about you morally and all that kind of stuff, that does feel like it is lost in this, obviously, a little bit. Like, it's not deep around moral questions. Some of them are, but yeah, I just wanted to get that point out there. 100% give it a go. and support the team, and consider supporting me for doing this video. Perhaps if you enjoyed it, that's up to you. Like the video if you did like it, dislike it if you don't like my opinions, but remember, it is just my opinion. We can all have our own opinions on things, but honestly, this is great, and it does feel like a proper Fallout 4 DLC. So I do hope you enjoyed this Fallout London review. Thank you so much for watching. I've just been doing this non-stop since it came out, so I need to go take a rest, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.